Okay, so two challenges that I can definitely pinpoint, because it's actually been quite seamless in the rollout, but two big ones, and I'm sure a lot of people who are rolling out will come across this. Our vendors struggled a little bit initially to get their head around tagging and applying the tag through certain types of software, so that it was more of a change for them, because they're just so used to being able to go down the street, get their own swing tags, apply their own barcodes, and not have any regulation around that, which sounds odd in this day and age, given Europe is already RFID enabled and has been for 10 years, and so is the UK, and America is obviously making their way through this. So it was a bit perplexing that they struggled. However, on the appointment of our ESG manager, who used to be an ex-production controller for our business across the whole business, both schoolwear and menswear, who's Chinese. So we've sent him twice now to China, and that has been the best thing, because he can obviously talk the talk, train everybody up on how to actually use the technology, and do a bit of QA to make sure that they're great across that. But that took a little bit of investment, because we've sent him there twice, but we've rationalised that because he does a lot of our audits for our factories anyway, and just wants to make known his face. So we've built that relationship, and that's going quite well. But initially, it was a little bit of a struggle to get everybody on board. Now the other one, and I'm sure every retailer will come across this, if you are a business that is used to only doing a stock take once a year, you're used to the pause mentality. Pause everything, pause trade, pause the way inventory's coming through, do your housekeeping, shut down the shop. It's very disruptive to your business. And finance use these stops in time to get a pinpoint for what the stock is and the shrink is in that point in time. Now, imagine you've taken a whole year to gather that information, and the deterioration over every single month increases. And then you present a solution to the finance team saying, there'll never be a stop, there'll never be a pause, there'll never be a disruption to business, but you'll have to give up one thing. You will have to rely on the trust of adjusting in real time. They freak out. They think that you've got huge losses and huge pregnancies, because it has a bit of a up and down process until you can flatline and you get consistency in your stock levels. Because during that first 2 weeks where you've just switched on your store and you've got this massive loss because you haven't done a stock take for 12 months, and your finance team is saying, we've just lost 17 grand, where is it? But that's just a deterioration over time. And then you re-inject your store with that stock, and you say there's a huge pregnancy, and then the next week they go ahead and they start to count, and you get almost a consistent flat line of your stock levels being correct. It's very, very overwhelming for your finance department to see these big waves of inconsistencies until they feel confident that everything that you're doing is actually correct. So holding their hand through that process is really important, and just reassuring them that it will be okay after that happens. But yeah, that was a big challenge for us. Well, you can't do this project unless you have either your owner, your CEO, or somebody in the C-suite on board. And in the C-suite, you need your CFO on board. You need I've introduced it as CIO, but you need your CEO on board. If you don't have that being drilled down from the top to the bottom, it's never going to take wings. It's never going to fly. It's such a big process that affects every single facet of your business, that if you don't have buy-in and it's not being driven from the top, it's not going to work. You can have your middle management try and push it up, but you will need a champion there to actually take the lead and be project management, and have a core group who's bought into the scenario. So we have a dedicated person from IT that has worked with me, Jeff Payne. And then I've had every single stakeholder in the regional management sector and the area management sector. They've been very proactive in wanting to be a part of the project team. So in setting up that framework or that infrastructure, that needs to be there with the directive obviously from executive team, and then it will push through.